Hey guys, Warren here. Thanks for joining me again. Big W in the house. I'm in the car on my way to Langley BC, and we're going to be visiting a brand new brewery there called Locality Brewing. Little farm-based brewery that just opened recently, and I haven't been there yet. The beer was quite good, actually. I had a few different things. I tried the West Coast IPA, very nice. It was floral, citrusy, really nice, easy drinking. They had a couple of saisons. I tried the regular saison. It was nice. It was a little on the dry side. A little bit spicy with the cloves and that. Not too bad. Pretty good. And the double IPA was pretty good too. It was on the hazy side, and fruity, dank, citrusy. And I had a sour cherry, which was pretty good. It seemed like a kettle sour, not super interesting. That was pretty good. And then lastly, I had a rum and vanilla porter. And that was quite nice too. The rum was noticeable, although not overpowering in any way, and the vanilla was very subtle. Too much vanilla ruins beer pretty quick in my books. So I first started home brewing in 1998. I had just purchased my first condominium and had a mortgage for the first time in my life, and budgets were tight. And I enjoyed drinking beer, but couldn't afford to buy it as frequently as I would like. So I started making it. And the idea was to save money, which I did. But I also learned a whole lot. And it didn't take me too long, maybe 5 years or so, before I started entering and winning homebrew contests, and I have a few medals and things like that to show for it. So through homebrewing, I became interested in just brewing in general, and I became involved with an organization in Vancouver called the Campaign for Real Ale, CAMRA. It is a provincial organization called CAMRA BC, which is actually part of a worldwide organization. Started in England, in the UK, and some expats in Victoria brought the organization to British Columbia. I was actually president of the Vancouver chapter, or part of the provincial organization, for several years in the early to mid 2000s. And during that time, I met a lot of people in the brewing community, who are some of them are my very good friends today. So while I was home brewing, and there was a couple of contests that I won. And one of them was this Iron Brew contest that Tony DeWolf is holding at Dick's Barbecue and Brewery, and he was looking specifically for winning homebrew IPA recipe. So I believe I won first and second place in that one, and my prize was that I got to go and brew my beer at Dick's with Tony. And then have my beer on tap and served to the patrons of the establishment, which was fantastic, because when I was president of CAMRA, we were meeting on a regular basis at Dick's. That was one of the places where CAMRA would meet on, I think it was Thursdays that we'd meet and have cask ales. So that was my introduction to commercial brewing, and since then I had the opportunity to brew on many different systems with many different brewers, sometimes from winning contests, sometimes just from talking to them and going in and working with them for a day or whatever. So I ended up working on quite a few systems, from Big Ridge, Dick's, Old Abbey, Parallel 49, So I was concentrating on home brewing, and I was actually teaching a homebrew class out of Beyond the Grape. So after getting some experience in commercial breweries through winning contests and getting to know brewers and that kind of thing, I found myself in a situation about 5 or 6 years ago, 6 years ago now, I guess, where I was approached by Rob Davis. Rob and his father Ron were opening a new brewery in Pitt Meadows called Foamer's Folly, and they were getting close to being ready to open, and Rob reached out to me to see if I would be interested in brewing commercially for them. So at the time I was working for the corporation on a 4-on 4-off shift, which was perfect, so that meant I had 4 days off, so I did have some time to brew commercially. My good friend Matt also was on a 4-on 4-off, not working for the corporation. He works for someone else, but he was on a 4-on 4-off, almost opposite to me. I think we were offset, it overlapped by a day or something. So Matt and I were hired as the commercial brewers for Foamer's Folly, and we were the brewers there for the first year that they were in operation. We developed all the recipes and brewed all the beer, and we entered our beers in the BC Beer Awards, and we won 3 awards that year. One was for one of Matt's beers, and 2 of them were for my beers. I won a gold for my bitter, and a bronze for my mild. So English styles have always been sort of my interest, my preference, and no surprise that I was also good at making them. So after about a year, we had a little bit of a disagreement with the owner Ron, and we decided not to work for them anymore. Shortly thereafter, I was approached by Nathan, who was working for a new startup called Two Wolves, and I did work for Two Wolves for probably about a year as well. I did recipe formulation for them, came up with 2 or 3 different recipes for them. Long story short, I've got a bit of a background in brewing, and where I'm moving on Vancouver Island, there are plenty of small local breweries, and a lot of them are really, really good. So depending on what happens, I may end up applying for a job at one of them. Who knows, as a brewer, as a cellarman, maybe even just pouring samples in the tap room. Who knows? But that's another skill set, and that I can fall back on, and that I have knowledge in. About 4 years ago, I became involved in a podcast called Pacific Beer Chat, and we try to put out a new episode every week. Every Tuesday, we try to put out a new episode. It's been tough the last couple of years with the COVID situation, so we've done a lot of them by Zoom. Not the best. I prefer the episodes where we do them in person, especially where we're in a brewery talking with the owners and the brewers. It's super informative. We do have some beer chat coming up this Tuesday night. We're going to be doing a Zoom meeting, so you might want to tune in for that. Again, thanks to the people who are subscribing and hitting the thumbs up on my videos. I appreciate you. And